ridiculous. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe. Sometimes.
Tell me about this. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. No.
Holy cow.
We've had a lot of fun.
So, Catherine, you had an interesting experience this past weekend. Tell us all about your reunion.
Yes, I went to my college reunion, and this is the first of those that I've ever been to. And,
there have been other ones, and you have abstained?
Yeah, I mean, they have alumni weekend every year, so you could...
Do you wish to say which one this was?
25.
Oh.
So yeah, it was bigger because of that.
Yeah.
As I said, you could certainly go any year, but I had a friend who was on the committee, so she said my only job was to just nag people to come, and it worked because I came. But it was a lot of fun. There was a parade and a picnic on Saturday, which I didn't do because it was pouring rain and I also wasn't there. So it worked out. It worked out well for me.
Yeah. Good
and
planning.
then there was a big party on Saturday night, which was meant to be outside, but was moved inside because of the pouring rain. And then there were some other events. There were lots of lectures and tours and discussions and things, none of which I did. Just saw some people in smaller groups and settings, and then walked around a lot on campus, which I hadn't done in a very long time.
And remind us of what campus that was?
University of Pennsylvania in West Philadelphia. So it's right in the city, but it's got a beautiful campus with a lot of green lawns and nice setting, nice scenery. So did that, went to the bookstore, bought a bunch of stuff. Although someone did post on our class Facebook page a picture of her haul from the bookstore, and it was out of control. I did not. All I bought was 2 t-shirts. It was nothing compared to what she had. So
wow.
So yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
It was enjoying the pictures that were going up on your timeline from yourself and tagged by others. And
yes,
it looked very pretty and it was vicarious reunion experience, because I don't know that I will ever go to mine, but
oh no.
It was fun. I mean, it was fun because of the people I got to see. So, and it was fun to be back on campus, which I hadn't, like I said, I hadn't done in a very long time.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
I had my
good for
35th last year, and I didn't hear anything about it, so I don't know if they even do it.
Well, it's all part of the commencement weekend.
Yeah.
So, the campus was just filled with tents and, folding chairs and things for all of the other, for all of the events that were going on. And last year's commencement, the speaker was Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
But that was last year.
I believe I enjoyed that on YouTube, actually.
Yes. So this year, the speaker was Cory Booker, who would have been fun to see and interesting, but that was...
I'm sure he'd be a good speaker.
I didn't want to plan to go to the entire commencement, so... I could have gotten a cap and gown and done it.
Yeah.
But I decided to go to a museum instead.
You Americans are so loyal to your universities and your teams and your groups, and I don't know what this is all about. I mean, a reunion at university? It's so bizarre to me. I don't get it. I don't even know our university's mascot. I don't even know our fight song. I didn't even know we had a team, any kind of a team that we went and rooted for. Wow, it's just so different from where I come from.
They work really hard to keep the alums happy because they want our money.
Money, yes.
Yeah. That's a big part of it.
I mean, I know that my university has some kind of golf weekend down here in Palm Springs, of all things. But I think it's just the older set that show up. I mean, I don't even know where most of my classmates are. That's so funny. Mm-hmm. There is no fanfare.
Yeah, I don't know what my college does, because it's a huge college. It would be difficult.
It is.
I don't know how they do, but I went to a smaller college within the larger university, and I'm sure they have some sort of reunions, but I never hear anything. I'm not tapped in, but I have been to a couple of high school reunions. Not recently, but
wow.
This would be my 40th high school reunion.
Woohoo!
That's crazy.
My husband's coming up on his 50th, but he says he will not go.
He's not interested.
He's not interested. They call, and I commiserate with the person whose job it is to get everybody to go. And I say, I'm doing all I can, ma'am, but he's not budging. I would like to go and scope out his classmates. He went to mine, but no.
When we did our graduation from my high school, we did a time capsule. Did I tell you this before?
No.
We had to write a note and put it in a time capsule, and it was going to be opened at our 25th or something, which has already passed. But mine said that it was something to do, where do you see yourself in the future in 25 years? Mm-hmm. And I said that I would be married to an Australian living on a beach near Sydney. So
how's that going?
Yeah, that hasn't really come true. Although
you're
California,
reasonably near
Australia,
the beach, right?
That's right.
Sort of, yeah. Definitely didn't marry an Australian, so.
But you're further from home than you were. Not quite as far as you imagined being, but still.
No,
that's true.
I'm sure somebody
you are
read
in
that
a different country.
Yep. Halfway there.
Yeah.
Yes, why I don't go to reunions. I would thoroughly embarrass myself.
Aw. There's nobody you're curious to see all these years later?
I see them on Facebook.
Ah, there you go. See, I wonder if Facebook has lessened the interest in reunions, because I know I see people on Facebook that I went to school with too, and so I no longer have that. Gee, I wonder what she's doing, because I know in great detail.
And then the other ones I just don't really care about, so it's all good.
There's a group on Facebook of people. Did you grow up in Thousand Oaks or something like that? So it's like my hometown, and there's people talking about in the old days. Do you remember when this happened? So it's like that, but fulfills the reunion niche pretty nicely, without the need to actually go there.
Right, be there
without the 4-hour plane ride.
Well, this is our weekly reunion for the three of us. So we'll say welcome to Parenting Roundabout, a weekly podcast about the things that parents are talking about, obsessing about, and complaining about right now. I'm Catherine Haleko, and with me today are Terri Morrow.
Hello.
And Nicole Eridix.
Hello.
So today on the podcast, we're going to talk about parenting apps on our Friday speed round. We are going to shout out some stuff we like on the Roundabout Roundup, and we'll do our usual shameless self-promotion. But first, it is almost wedding season, so that has us thinking about marriage.
Yes. So I was actually scrolling through my Facebook feed last night and noticed that there is a new show that is coming up in the fall, I believe, and it's by the same producers as Modern Family, and it's called Splitting Up Together. And it takes a look at a new form of couples splitting up and moving on. And the trailer looks interesting, and it talks about, how this couple couldn't make their marriage work, and yet, for whatever reason, they've decided not to physically separate, although their marriage has dissolved. And it focuses, I guess, on the trials and tribulations of being uncoupled in the same residence. So it looks interesting. I mean, you definitely hear more about that these days, about couples who are choosing to not be married, but also live in the same residence or the same vicinity for the, either for financial reasons, for the sake of the children. But there's new and different approaches to separating from your spouse. But that's not what this conversation is about. This this actually made me think about the opposite and staying with your spouse and the amount of work it takes to not split up.
Having a bad week there, are we, Nicole?
A couple weeks, if you heard our podcast last week. But no, really, I mean, all of us, I'm guessing, we haven't actually talked about how many years we've been married, but I think all of us have been in fairly long-term marriages thus far. We're coming up on our 24th, I believe, wedding anniversary. Terri, where are you at?
27.
If you want to mention it. 27? Catherine, you're up there too, right? You're
Not as long as you guys. It'll be 17 this year.
Well, you know, still, I mean, those are pretty, considering, you know, I don't even know what the divorce rate is and at what year, but
we've stuck with it.
Just from my informal observation, I think we're doing pretty okay on the longevity scale of marriage. So yeah, but it definitely without a lot of work, and that's kind of what we want to talk to one another about this week. And how are we doing it? Like, I mean, it's not easy. And I tell my daughter this every day, because not that she's even close to marriage, but she's in that kind of dating phase and or wanting to date phase, and I don't know, even though we've talked to her a lot about this myth of the perfect romance.
Yeah.
I also remind her that, hon, it's going to take some effort on your part as well. You can't just expect him to be the one to do all the work in the relationship. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about this week. I guess, first of all, let's sort of just backtrack and talk about what had we wish we had known as newlyweds that we can give. What kind of advice or what kinds of things do you wish you had known as a newlywed that you didn't know?
Advice, or how do you make a marriage work? I asked my husband that when I knew we were having this conversation today. I said, what do you think is the secret to a good marriage? And his answer was, don't have too many interactions with each other. And this is said by my generally shy and not real outgoing husband. So I get it from his point of view. But I had actually been thinking along the same lines that, the cliche is that all the things of daily life will drive you apart. Certainly in that clip, you saw she was doing all these things. She felt he wasn't doing enough, and that all the stuff of daily life kind of messed up their relationship. On the other side, though, I also feel like sometimes the many, many, many distractions of raising kids and keeping a house and working jobs can be helpful. So, it keeps you from focusing on what's going on in your relationship. Sometimes I think that can be a good thing.
The fact that he doesn't pick up his socks every day.
Yes. Because there are too many other things to do.
So is that something that you have always done, or is that something that you've learned over time, or that he's realized over time? Or
yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's never been a big interaction guy. So, and I knew that going in. But, I think sometimes having something else to focus on is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I certainly feel the desire for interactions more frequently, I think, than he does. And he's mastered the art of, when I get mad, not engaging and just waiting till I burn myself out. And then, then I apologize, and then it's all over. And that's not involved at all. From his point of view, that's a go-to marital strategy that drives me crazy at the time, but in retrospect is probably
it kind of
wise.
is working. You can see that it's working.
Yeah, it does work. I hate it for that hour or two when I'm furious. But afterwards, it's like, you know what? If we had engaged, things would have been said, and that probably would have been bad. So it's just as well. You don't always have to air out all the dirty laundry every time.
Right away.
Yes, yes, it's good. His is the equivalent of the write the angry email and then put it in your draft folder and come back in a day. You will find that you really don't need to say all those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and that's totally the opposite of the advice that I got from some well-meaning people in my life who said, never go to bed angry, never go to bed on a fight.
Yeah,
sometimes it's okay to give one another breathing room.
I think that is very true. Yeah, you don't always have to engage in those things, Yeah. You don't want to let it simmer and then be angry, but a lot of things that we get angry about in the moment are not in the greater scheme of things, the most important things.
Right.
And another thing that we do, I think, to keep our marriage lively, and this is a particularly good when you have children of a certain age, inappropriate affection at all times of day.
Yes.
They love it, the kids.
Yeah. It's and it's fun for us, and it's mortifying for them. So
Of course.
that is something that we do quite a lot, possibly because I work at home. And I'm always looking for procrastination. And when he's there, it's like, I'm going to go kiss my husband. That's a good thing to do. And
Your adult children are...
Yes,
They're
my
thrilled.
adult children run screaming from the room, and the dog barks at us. But, we keep that spark going.
Yeah, good for you.
I highly recommend it, both for procrastination purposes and for mortifying the children.
What do you do? How do you keep your marriage going, and what do you wish you had known as a newlywed?
I don't know. This is so hard, but I agree with Terry's husband that, I need the space sometimes. So I think we've learned that over time, to just like sometimes the backing off is the better strategy. So, and as far as, what advice we may have gotten or not gotten that we should have gotten, I don't know. I mean, I think you always hear about the, you should go out on dates and things and, make sure you keep doing that. And we have not been great about that, but whenever we do it, it does feel really good. So I think that's another one that you should, try to do.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't like feeling guilty when I don't do it either.
Yeah, that's true. To me, the best part of going out on dates, and this is again once you're parents, is being able to look at other people at other tables wrestling with kids and going,
They're not.
hey, we don't have to
not
worry
me.
about that tonight. Let's give them judgy looks, shall we?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, finding the time for that is nearly impossible.
Right. And I always, when my kids were little, I really just hated the whole getting a babysitter and all of it,
Yes.
all of that stuff. And
It puts pressure on the evening that is not helpful.
and it's like another task for me to do.
Exactly.
Right.
So we had some friends who did like a babysitter on retainer thing. And actually I did that when I was in my 20s and living in New York City. I was the every Saturday night babysitter. And then there's no planning it, you're just like, it's
That's a good
done
idea.
deal. And then, the babysitter knows the kids and you don't have to spend half an hour giving instructions. It's just like, okay, we're out of here. So
Never heard about that.
that would have been a good idea in retrospect.
Yeah, I have a combination of things. I mean, I totally agree with Terri that space helps.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with Terry's husband that less interaction is better in many respects.
I'm
For
sure he
most
said
of-
it with love.
But for most of my marriage, my husband's traveled for work.
Yeah.
So
Oh, well,
he's spent a good portion of our marriage being away for a week here and there, which has certainly helped diffuse a lot of issues. Because when he's not around, it makes me appreciate him more.
Yeah.
So maybe having, sending your husband on his merry way for a few weeks out of the year. I think, and laughter. We always try and have
Definitely.
lots of inside jokes and lots of laughter and lots of not practical jokes, but just things that we can just
Mutually agreed upon teasing is
mutually
nice.
agreed. Yeah, I think I was telling my son and his girlfriend just even a month or so ago. I said even if it's just been the worst possible situation, sometimes we've just managed to laugh and it's brought us out of whatever we were in, which leads me to my next question about marriages. Have you, in your marriage, overcome any sort of serious or major obstacle that really took a lot of work and really either put a strain on your marriage or brought you closer together? Is there anything that you've overcome, and how did you do that?
I mean, I'd say in our marriage, it was probably infertility and going through all the attempts to get pregnant, which is a terrible and laughable and horrifying procedure. And then coming to a point where we said, you know what, we don't want to go any further with this, and then looking to adoption, which also wasn't easy. You know, we went to various agencies in the U.S. and got our hopes up and got our hopes dashed. We would get pictures of kids, we would fall in love with them, and they would say, no, those aren't for you. And that was a really difficult procedure. And then going to Russia, I mean, my husband is not world traveler guy. For him to go to a foreign country and then get stuck there for a month was so far out of his wheelhouse. It was a little more comfortable to me. I had done a little more traveling, but it was still, you know, it wasn't a pleasure trip. It was incredibly stressful. We didn't know from one day to the next if we were going to get our kids. We had, you know, money strapped to our bodies. We had, you know, it was just, the whole thing was like a month of incredible stress in a strange place where the people didn't speak your language and your whole life was on the line, basically. And so that was a really difficult time. That was a lot of stressful decisions. And of course I felt guilty for most of them, that and I was also felt the burden of, because I was the one who was going to find the adoption thing and all that. And I was the one who was pushing for one thing or another. So that, you know, that was really difficult. But when we came out of it on the other side, not only did we have our wonderful children, but we had, as mentioned previously, just a ton of distractions. Like, you know, from there on, it was all good. You know, we were just on a one foot in front of the other, you know, do the thing immediately in front of you course for really still to now. So we made it through. It was a difficult time and an extremely stressful ending to it. But, you know, I think it did make us stronger. We will always have that in our background to remember back on and go, can you believe we survived that month? Much less all the things that led up to it. And it was, that was something.
Because was it a several year process to get from A to B?
You know, we wound up going for our adoption in 94. I guess we were gone the entire month of November of 1994.
Wow.
So we got married in 1990 and we waited a year to start trying. So there was probably 3 years of increasing stress over infertility and then increasing investigation of adoption. It was very difficult at that time to adopt a baby in New Jersey. There was just, you know, like a 5-year waiting list. And if you could even get on the waiting list, which you couldn't necessarily. You know, and then we went to the Wendy's place, you know, they showed the Wendy's restaurants, the national, but that didn't work out. So it was about a 3-year process to finally get us there, with, you know, great highs and lows of stress and upset and trauma.
Do you think it's any easier today, or is it?
I really don't know.
Not sure.
I mean, one of the things was at that time, they wouldn't place kids of a different race with parents of a different race. That has changed.
Right.
So that, you know, made it difficult because we would see kids who needed a home and they would say, no, we won't consider you for that.
Right.
And also, I think people thought we were just incredibly naive and stupid. So if we wanted a kid with disabilities, they were like, oh, no, that's not for you. Although we finally, when we went to Russia, it was like, oh, you want to take these? Absolutely. Here you go. So that was, it has changed somewhat, but I'm sure it's still, you know, it's still a traumatic procedure. And it's just too, you know, you read every day about people getting pregnant who don't want their kids. And then to get a kid yourself, you have to open up your life to strangers and let them come into your house and look around and ask you incredibly personal questions. And then still maybe look at you and go, So it's, that is traumatic also. Just to
that's
feel
strange.
like
especially in the first 2 years of marriage.
Yes.
To have to work through all that.
Yeah. And I had looked into it before we got married because I didn't want to go into marriage and, you know, without him knowing about this, and had a doctor tell me that they thought it would work out and then it didn't. So, you know, a lot of guilt and, you know, that was tough. That was tough. But we survived it, and, you know, we had a good relationship all through it. I don't think there was ever any trouble in our marriage over it other than just me having feelings But he was a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did get pretty sick in Russia, I think, just because it was such a shock to his poor system. Everything about it.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty remarkable thing that we did.
Yeah, it really was.
How about you, Catherine? What's your...
Well, I mean, not as dramatic as that, I would say. Didn't have to spend a month in a foreign country, like, scared. Man. And, yeah. But I just think the hardest points for us have been, like, having to make big decisions, you know? Are we going to move from one city to another? Are we going to, buy an apartment or a house? Should he take this job or that job? Should I quit this job or that job? Should we have another kid? Like, all of those things probably should have been discussed in more detail beforehand. And they weren't, like, when you get married in the Catholic Church, you have to go to these pre-Cana, like, classes. And we did like the one day like Blitz version instead of the like once a week for 6 weeks or whatever. We just went for one day. Yeah. And it really is a good thing. Like, you could learn a lot about each other. You could really set up like a good base for your marriage if you both take it seriously. And let's just say that one of us didn't. So, I think that would have been a time and a place where you could have said, like, I for sure want, at least 4 kids or something. Like, not that I was feeling that way, but you know what I mean? You could have, that's the point of that exercise, is to have some of those big conversations beforehand. And, I think when you're in the midst of planning a wedding, you're probably not going to like, be like, you know what? Never mind. This isn't going to work. But at the same, but you could just kind of begin having those conversations, and they're hard, so you could start having them in a time and a place where the stakes are a little bit lower. I think that those, because those were the points where things got hard,
Yeah. We had the same marriage boot camp too, being married in the Catholic Church. It was a weekend though.
Yeah,
we had a little bit more time. And we took most of it seriously. A few pieces of advice we left behind, such as Jesus being in the bedroom with you at every moment in your marriage. So that one we just kind of, but for some people that's, that works for them to take that piece of advice with them. But that really helped us, that kind of pre-marriage encounter, they called it, where we had a chance to talk through things and work through things. And I think that helped. I mean, one of our biggest obstacles, as most people know, is moving here, coming here. And the reason we came here was even just as challenging. It's because my husband's business was near bankruptcy. So that in itself is a big challenge, having to go through a big financial strain. And so it was a good couple of years of financial stress and then moving and, which they say are pretty high on the list of causes for divorce. And let me tell you.
You can see it, huh?
I can totally see it. So, but I think that those earlier conversations and experiences, the laughter, I think those are all the things that keep you together in the end, right?
Yes.
So they're the things that bind you. And I think it's important. To remember that.
Yeah. So. I think I was just thinking when you guys were talking about those big decisions, I wonder if when my husband says not too many interactions, what he means is just go make all the decisions. I really don't want to talk about it. Sometimes I think that's it. You know what you want,
Just
wife,
go ahead.
and you're just going to try to pester me into saying the thing that you want. So just go do it.
Just do it anyway.
But I want, I want him to want to do it. Not because I want him to, but just because he does.
Right,
But I want him to want the thing that I want.
Yeah, and you can't...
Read my mind, man. We've been married 27 years.
So true. Yes, well, I think we came up with some good pieces of advice, though, overall.
Yeah, maybe what we need is an app for these situations.
Wow.
Our speed round today is I saw an article about an app for moms. I think it was a real article and not a parody, although it could really go either way. That was like a way to find mom friends, sort of like a Tinder-like app, except that you can find other people with other moms with kids your same age who are looking for friends, and then you can arrange to, I guess, meet at the park and check each other out. And there was a time in my life where
swipe left.
Well, yeah, exactly. Wow, would I have gone for that? That would have been so cool. You put your like a dating app for moms play dating app. A play dating app is what we need.
There you go. That's what
you could put in the
that
ages
is
of your
their
children.
Marketing right there.
There, yes.
Well,
yes.
and it's not as
Sell
weird
that
as
to
giving
them.
somebody a business card.
Yeah, really. Look me up on the play dating app.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking about what other sorts of parenting apps I wish were out there and that I would like to have. And right at the moment, what I want is an app, either on my phone or on my computer, some computerized way to feed in all the things you have to do in a particular weekend and have it figure out how the heck you're going to get through it all. It's going to find you somebody to watch the kids, take them to the place they need to be when you have to be someplace, 4 hours away. It's going to say, we have run this through the database and we have decided that it is impossible for you to do this thing, and then let us off the hook for it.
Yeah,
Just
it will
take care of all that
send
stuff.
your regrets for you.
Exactly,
so you don't have
exactly.
to.
I just want to say, these are the 10 things that we have scheduled for the same 48 hours. Figure it out. Hit a button, and it will do it. Somebody invent that for me, because I need it for like a couple of weeks from now.
Like now.
We have had too many interactions, my husband and I, about how we're going to get through this weekend, and they have not been satisfactory. So I need the organization app muscle to figure that the heck out. Catherine, what parenting app would you like?
I want something that gets me through my son's end of the year projects and homework.
Oh, yes.
Can I please just check out of that process, because I'm about done.
Can you input all the things he has to do, and then it will take over and make him do them?
Yes, that's what I want. I wanted to make him do them and do them well, and learn what he's supposed to learn instead. It doesn't have to do them for him, but
it will nag him to do his homework.
Exactly, please.
Mobile mom is what we need, and it will just ride in his pocket, and every now and then go, "Did you do that homework? I think it's due tomorrow. Right. You better do it."
The nagging app.
Yes.
The nagging mom app.
A nagging app, actually.
Yep.
That, but you would have to it would have to be in a little thing that you could hide in your child's clothing or something, so that they couldn't find it and discard it, but it would constantly be there.
Yeah. In the fidget spinner somehow.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
When they spin it 5 times, it goes, "This is really getting annoying. You should stop."
Exactly.
Nagging app.
How about you, Nicole?
Yes.
Do you have an app idea?
I want an app that it will allow me to search for a specific item of clothing.
Oh.
That is in my size.
Uh-huh.
And it's in stock.
Uh-huh.
At the nearest location.
Yeah.
And it's waiting at the counter for me to just pick up, try on, buy it, and leave.
That is awesome. And it is as an extension of that app, I would like one that finds the exact garment I want in my size, clean and ready to go, in my closet.
Oh, yes.
When I can't find it. I know I have this shirt somewhere. Where is it? I wanted to say,
it's
look
like the
behind
GPS,
the hamper.
GPS clothing app.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Make that so.
And I also want an app that will make me sleep.
Oh, yes.
Sleeping all these days.
That would be awesome.
I think last night was a 3:30 a.m. bedtime. Anyway.
Night before I went to bed at 3:30, but that's because I was working up until then. And like for the last 2 hours, I was going, this is so stupid. I should go to bed. I should stop working and go to bed. What do you do when you're too old for this? But I still did it.
Yes.
So I need
and you probably got a lot
and then hits me on the head.
And then it reinforced you.
I did. This is the terrible,
Right.
terrible thing, which is that if I can get over being sleepy and stay awake all night, I get so much done. And then the next day I am useless. My husband just came and mimed hitting me over the head with a mallet. So that is what I needed. Well, that will be it for our speed round. But you know what? App developers, you can have these ideas for free as long as we get the first copies of them. So get to work.
Get busy.
Remember that you can hear a new speed round every Monday through Thursday.
And now from the fantastical things that we want, we are going to bring you some of the things that we have actually read or seen or used recently that we want to shout out and share with you. Terri, yours is an app.
Mine is an app. Speaking of apps, we've talked here before about how I'm using Google Calendar to organize my day and my work. And I am now trying out a system where I switch what I'm doing once an hour, just so I don't get too bored with something and then procrastinate. So every hour I switch to something next. But I found that I was losing track of when the hour started because Google Calendar, for some reason, does not seem to have an audio alert that you should switch to the next event. It just puts it up on your screen. And if you don't have that up in your browser at that moment, you don't even really see that. So I was looking for something that would ring once an hour to like alert me to switch. And I found something called the Chime app. It's free. It's extremely basic. And basically you can tell it to tell you the time every hour, every half hour, or every 15 minutes. You can have it make a chime noise, or you can have it actually say what time it is. And I found that really useful, and my family has found that really annoying. But as of now, I still have it. I have muted it turned it off for the purposes of this podcast, or else you would be hearing what time it was when we were recording. So if you need something, if you need it's sort of a nagging app. If you need a nag to say, it's 2:30, then that might be the app for you.
Okay.
Free on iTunes.
How about you, Nicole? What do you have going on?
Well, I don't necessarily know a lot about it. I'm more curious about this. And listeners, if you have any feedback, please let me know. But I'm seeing a lot of buzz about the male romper. So it's kind of the male version of the female romper, which is the one-piece shirt and bottoms piece of clothing. So if you've used it or seen it or know anything about it, let us know.
Well, if it has a fly, it's a lot easier for a man to wear a romper than a woman. The problem I have with rompers is you have to like completely disrobe in a public bathroom to go to the,
and then it's just all nasty.
And then it's disgusting, and it's like that's not good.
So
it makes sense.
It's not something I've used personally or I've used lately, but I've certainly seen it, and I want some feedback. I want to know what this male romper is all about.
Report back to Nicole, y'all, in the comments of our podcast page.
Or out there, but just thought I would share that with you.
That's funny.
We'll have a link to what she's talking about. Catherine, how about you?
Well, and mine is very serious compared to the male romper, but
everything is serious compared to the male romper.
That is true. So last week, or maybe it was the week before, there was this big ransomware attack where all of these, it happened especially, I think, in the UK and Asia, and, where people would open their computer, mostly at businesses, open their computer and find that, all of your data has been encrypted and it's being held for ransom, and you have to pay money to get it, pay Bitcoins to get it back. So it just reminded me that, you should be backing up your stuff, because if you have an off site backup, a cloud backup of your data, then you would not suffer from this problem.
So a cloud backup of your data would
I
work?
think so, as I understand it.
They wouldn't just encrypt your cloud?
As I understand it, no, because, the cloud is separate from your...
Okay.
Right. So...
Yeah.
So I use this, for Apple, obviously you have your iCloud. I am on PC, so I use a service called Mozy, Mozy, where I pay, I think it's like $50 a year or something. It's not expensive. And it does an automatic backup twice a day. And you can set it to whenever you want it to, you could have it back up every hour if you want, I guess. But
Right.
So, and I have had to use it before when I've had laptops die on me, or even just when you're switching, from one to another.
Right.
It's been, as I recall, pretty easy to just transfer everything over to the new machine. Yeah. So back up your stuff, people.
I also do all my important work on Dropbox just because I'm constantly nervous that if my computer dies with that manuscript on it, what would I do?
Right.
So, and also there was a time when I was switching around from computer to computer quite a lot. So that was great. I could get to my work from wherever I was. So I feel like there's really not that much actually physically on my hardware.
Right.
It's mostly all out there someplace. So if those services get compromised, then I'm out of luck. But I guess I do have a hard copy on my hard drive also.
It certainly, isn't 100%. Nothing is. But if you're, no matter what you're doing, you should be backing up somehow. So
in some way or another, have more than one access to things. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. And now for our final segment today, we are going to do a little shameless self-promotion and direct you to some things on our sites that we think you should take a look at. Terri, you're up first. What do you want us to look at?
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't really have anything of my own to share this week because I'm running behind week, so I didn't actually know if I'm going to have anything up on the Friendship Circle blog this week. But I wanted to shout out some recent favorites of blog posts I have edited and published there by other people. One of them is 10 food allergy friendly products and services to try, which had some really interesting things on them that I had never really considered. I will have a link to that on our podcast page. Also, I published a blog post by one of my son's old speech therapists that was on increasing verbal interactions with your minimally verbal child. So if that's something that you're interested in, please check that out. Shout out to Damon. Thank you for doing that for us. And I also, we had a post about how training of special education teachers has changed to prepare them for inclusion. This is a topic I've always been really interested in because it seems to me in my experiences on inclusion that one of the main problems is that teachers really don't know how to do it. The general ed teachers know how to do their thing. The self-contained teachers know how to do their thing. And when you ask them to do something different, they're like, no, I didn't go to school for that. So I had a contact with some special education professors who had done a post for us on lockdown drills and kids with special needs and asked them some questions. So that's going to be a two-part. We have the first part is up now and there's going to be more coming. So those are three things that you should look at if those are topics of interest to you.
Nice.
Well, thank you. It's a good array of reading there.
Yeah.
Catherine, how about you?
I did a piece over on Highlights Parents about basically social skills games for preschoolers. So it's all just little games and activities that you can do with usually like a small group of preschoolers, and they all help build on those social and emotional skills.
Excellent. And I'm just going to shout out a piece that I've done. I did a couple of years back, but still one of my more popular pieces on my website. And that is 10 ways to teach social skills in your inclusive classroom. So have a look at that.
Yes. We've got overlap. Inclusion and social skills overlap.
So that's
one mind.
One of the more popular posts on that site. So check it out if you haven't already.
All right, and that is it for this week's episode of Parenting Roundabout. We hope you enjoyed it and that you will join us every week. You can listen to podcast episodes on parentingroundabout.com or download them from iTunes. Please subscribe so that you get all of our podcasts and mini podcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter, where I am at Momitude, Nicole is at Nicole Eridix, and Catherine is at C. Haleko. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Roundabout Chat, and look for us on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram too. Best of all, stop by our podcast page at parentingroundabout.com and read recaps, find links on all the stories we mentioned, and talk back in the comments. Thanks to John Moran for providing our in and out music, and I wish everybody a great week.